Your support is needed. Save and defend with us and help with us, Masafer Yatta, and save Palestine from the occupation and from the oppression.
Bonjour à toutes et tous et bienvenue sur l'actu du TA. Dans cette vidéo, nous avons reçu Sami Al-Huraini, j'espère que je le prononce bien, un jeune militant palestinien né dans la région de Masafer Yatta. Étudiant en droit, il est engagé dans une association locale qui s'appelle The Youth of Soumoud, la jeunesse de Soumoud. Une association qui s'appuie sur l'énergie de la jeunesse pour résister à l'oppression quotidienne des autorités israéliennes. En déplacement en France, grâce à l'association France Palestine Solidarité, il a accepté de venir s'exprimer sur notre chaîne, de répondre à nos questions et de témoigner du quotidien que vivent les Palestiniens dans sa région natale. Depuis notre interview, l'intensité de l'oppression s'est accentuée. Des dizaines de maisons et même une école ont été détruites. Pour soutenir le combat des Palestiniens, n'hésitez pas à vous rendre sur le site de l'association France Palestine Solidarité. Pour nous soutenir, nous vous invitons à liker, partager cette vidéo et à vous abonner. Peux-tu nous en dire plus sur la région de Masafer Yatta?
Masafer Yatta area, it is located in the South Hebron Hills, in the door of the Naqab in Negev, 248. We are facing since 40 years the policy of eviction and displacement by Israel. That is represented by two policies, which is declaring our area and our land where we live as a firing zone area to train the Israeli military, and the other policy is with settlements. And since 40 years, we are suffering from this two policy on daily basis through the military trainings in our land, in our villages, terrorizing us, terrorizing our people, to create an environment for forcible transfer, to kick us out from our land, and to annexate our land. Because this is part of the settler colonization that Israel is doing since 74 years in Palestine, and this project is still going and happening until today. And the area I come from, it's considered, according to Oslo Agreement, it's considered Area C, which means it's under full Israeli military control, which the Israeli military are applying the military law only on us, on Palestinians living there, and as well, to kick us from our land, as well to build more and more settlements. And in the same time, the settlements that are built illegally on our land, next to our houses, they are applying there the Israeli civil law on these settlers, which here we can see the apartheid where it's represented, because in the same area, Israel is applying two different laws for two different people.
Comment la présence de l'occupant s'illustre-t-elle au quotidien?
What does it mean for me living every day under occupation? For sure, I am a Palestinian. I don't have any rights living under the occupation. We are talking about for a simple right, which is to move freely. I can't move freely. First of all, most of the time there is a military checkpoint in the front of my village stopping me for no reason, questioning, wasting time, detention for 1 hour sometimes, and maybe more. Then we talk about we can't feel safe, we can't live in safety, because at some point while we are sleeping at our home in the night, Israeli military invade the village, started kidnapping, arresting us, or starting shooting in the middle of the night, the sound bomb crazily, or the tear gas. Dozens of suffocation cases happen during the night. We talk about even the houses we are living inside. It's also threatened all the time with demolishing. We have in Masafer Yatta almost weekly operation of demolishing by Israeli bulldozers to our homes. This is because they don't want us to feel safe. They don't want us to have any shelter to live inside in our land, to be ethnically cleansed from our land. For the area I come from as well, for example, according to the Israeli military law, when it's about even the connection to the water, to the main service of life, it's illegal. Simply, this is how the Israeli military say. They cut the water pipes and lines that reach to us and to our families and our people in Masafer Yatta. We talk about as well prevent people from access to have the right to access to electricity. We are talking about confiscation even for solar panel systems that's helping our people. We talk about even the lines to be destroyed and the towers of electricity when it's built to be destroyed and demolished, even the roads. And right now, for example, we are facing even the demolition for our schools and all our homes in Masafer Yatta. So nothing for the Israelis, for Palestinians is allowed to have. And in the other hand, I continue to confirm again settlement, like for example, a settlement far from my house, about 100 meters, which is full services of life is provided. But this is just when it's about us, it is. And despite this illegality of this settlement according to international law, but on the other side, we are keep suffering and facing without any accountability and anything.
Quels sont les objectifs stratégiques d'Israël dans cette région?
The goal of Israel in Masafer Yatta and in all Area C in the West Bank, that Israel want to surround the Palestinians in really very small areas like what is so-called Area A and Area B, like the big cities of Hebron and Dhahriya and Yatta and Ramallah and Bethlehem. This is what is the main goal, because as Area C represents 60% of the West Bank, Israel want to commit all the crime of ethnic cleansing and eviction from Area C to push Palestinian Area A, where there is the cities surrounded with big gates, which is called the yellow gates, that each city is surrounded with to hold us all inside it. This is the big idea and the big project. And to annexate, for example, in Masafer Yatta, the big goal and the big strategy is to kick out the Palestinians who live in Masafer Yatta and to annexate all this big land to An-Naqab and to 48. This is how the big goal is represented. It's annexation policy and eviction policy, which Israel is implementing in Masafer Yatta. And what we talk about right now, if Masafer Yatta and this crime Israel is planning to commit, if it succeed, then it will succeed in other places in West Bank, because there is also area in the Jordan Valley declared as well as a firing zone area, as well in other places. And this is an old new strategy that it's in the end they use this excuse inside the Israeli law of declaring a firing zone to kick out Palestinians. But what's the goal then? There is out of open area to do the training, but they just target where we live because they want to kick us out and bring settlers to live in our places and our land.
En réaction à cette oppression, tu as fondé l'organisation Jeunesse de Soumoud, en poursuivant la tradition familiale de résistance face à l'oppresseur. Peux-tu nous en dire plus à ce sujet?
I come from a struggling family, starting from my grandmother, which is a refugee from 1948 from An-Naqab area. She was evicted from her land and from her village. She was a refugee in different places until she settled in the village of Tuwani in Masafer Yatta. She bought the land there and she settled there. Then again the settlement, the settlement came again in the beginning of the 80s in Masafer Yatta, starting to steal more again of her land and to kick her away. She rejected to have and to live another Nakba. She decided to resist and to struggle there and not go anywhere. Settlers started a lot of violence against her, attacking her, beating her up. But with all this, she continued to resist daily, to exist in her land, not to leave. And then her family she was continuing to grow up her family. She grew up my father and my uncles, which is also leaders, in the struggle against occupation. My uncle, for example, the oldest one, her name is Saber, and her oldest son, he was the founder of my village of Tuwani, which is now one of the villages of Masafer Yatta that has a master plan with, we have water, we have electricity, we have roads and school. which is also it's mostly from his efforts and the community efforts of my oldest uncle. Then it's about my father, that also was raised by my grandmother as well. He is an founder of the Popular Struggle Committee in Masafer Yatta in the end of the 90s and the beginning of the 2000s, which also he also was the motivation as my grandmother to that we are in this activism circle as a personal level, and then how to serve more and more in our community and how to resist this occupation. And in 2017, we founded Youth of Soumoud, and my dad was the main founder and helper for us to create this group, which is to put more and more effort of the resistance on youth energy and youth bases, to hold it, to go more strongly with it. So we started living in caves in Masafer Yatta, in evicted villages by the occupation, to rehabilitate them, to live them again, and to protect them from settlement expansion. So that's how we started and then to get more involved in supporting the daily Soumoud and the resistance of our people, to accompany with internationals, shepherds who face settler violence, to accompany kids who come to school as well, who face settler violence, to continue to support this story and daily story of struggle that the occupation is trying to do to isolate us from each other, to disconnect, to take over more land. No, we have to reject and we have to resist all these plans. Besides to this, to organize and more the weekly protests in Masafer Yatta. We are now part of organizing the protest and the actions against the occupation in our area. And I am the founder, and the coordinator of this group. So, all this come from my family background and from my family experience, and since this whole history of involvement. And we are going on as well. My brothers and my sister and most of the family is an activist family.
J'ai une question en plus, si possible. En quelques mots, que souhaiterais-tu dire à la jeunesse française?
It's important, message from Palestine and from me for French youth and French people as well in general toward Palestine. Palestine is since 74 years suffering from the Israeli occupation and from apartheid. We really want the French people to open their eyes more and more about the conflict and to understand how much this world is very hypocritic, because Palestine is suffering from the occupation since 74 years and we don't see any real action from the international community, from, as we see like what's happening today to Russia and against the occupation of Ukraine. So I hope that there will be more and more involvement and more action taken from more French and youth and people toward the Palestinian cause, because Palestinian cause deserve the solidarity and the support from the French people to resist this and to end this ongoing injustice and ongoing apartheid. Right now in my area we are continuing to live the Nakba that started in 1948. Now we are at any moment losing our homes and getting homeless and getting expelled from our homes. We need to stop this ethnic cleansing crime and eviction from happening. Your support is needed. Save and defend with us and help with us Masafer Yatta and save Palestine from the occupation and from the oppression. And thank you.